So I'm looking on the internet and seeing these videos. I personally do not believe the altcoin season is over. I've been doing some research, just got off my live Q&A, and we were really looking into the liquidity of the market. And I've come to the conclusion that I do believe it's probably delayed. And I know that's kind of like a bold claim, but I want you to just kind of grasp what I'm going to say here. So first things first, this whole perception, I've been looking into the narrative. A lot of people are talking about how all of the money is now flowing into Bitcoin treasury companies. Like, for example, Circle is a really good indicator. Circle is worth like $7.4 billion right now as we speak. And the money kind of just flew into that. Circle is the creator of USDC. But the thing is, obviously there's billions of dollars of liquidity from USDC itself. So what people don't understand is when you mint and create USDC, right? When you create USDC, that money flows into crypto, but then it also flows into government debt. So it's kind of like this, it's like a proxy. So there's a couple of things. We wrote this down today. Some people are making a claim. All of the money that's supposed to go into altcoins is going into IPOs, for example, Circle, going into treasury companies, right? Bitcoin treasury companies, the spot ETF, and then maybe some stablecoins. So it's like the altcoin season is dead. Here's my thoughts. This is what I believe. Personally. Just look at it for this perspective. Bitcoin's at all-time high, right? It's at all-time high. Ethereum has been lagging a lot, right? Bitcoin at all-time high. Ethereum's been lagging. Of course, this altcoin season has been really bad. Now, we had a mini altcoin season, right? At the beginning of the year, I think towards the end of 2024, we had Solana pop off and a lot of altcoins do well then, right? And so some people are claiming, okay, that was the altcoin season. Now all of the money's flowing into treasury companies and things like that. But what you guys are missing, I think most of the people that are saying this, what they're missing is this one simple fact. The companies that are creating these treasury companies, the IPOs, the spot ETFs, all those entities involved, they're creating their own currencies. They're creating their own blockchains. They're creating their own cryptocurrencies. For example, if you look at what happened with BlackRock and how their marketing efforts pretty much created the entire RWA ecosystem. Now, obviously, there's multiple entities involved, but they were one of the biggest promoters, and they put a lot of money into RWAs. They market made RWAs. So you have to ask yourself the question, why? Why did they market make RWAs? It's this one simple fact. In money, regardless of the mechanism, traditional finance or crypto or whatever the case is, in money, okay, listen to what I'm saying. In money, it's always an extraction from somewhere else. So for example, if I have $1 billion and I want to extract money from another entity, right? I can create a mechanism to crowdfund that money or whatever the case is and do some type of arbitrage on the back end that nobody understands to make money. If you have $1 billion, you have to double it somehow. This is also why the government gives so much money to other countries, because they're low-key enslaving other countries by just giving them money and putting them in debt. So this is how money works, right? So when it comes to these companies, these crypto companies, this is what I believe, maybe I'm wrong, whatever. When it comes to these crypto companies, right, that are being created in traditional finance, they are creating products for retail. So when it comes to on-chain demand, right, we're looking for an altcoin season, we're looking for the altcoins to pop off. The claim, from what I've seen, is people saying that there's no on-chain demand. All of the liquidity is going into only, institutional projects and Bitcoin treasury companies and Bitcoin companies and things like that. It's only staying in the stock market, which it's kind of interesting. I do believe that there's money flowing there as a confirmation. This is obvious, right? The S&P 500 today just broke past all-time high and it's in price discovery, right? I do believe that there's some truth to that. But what you have to comprehend is that these companies that are getting the money in the stock market or whatever the case is, they are also creating crypto projects. Listen, they're creating crypto projects. They're creating crypto projects. That means that the demand has to come from somewhere else. For any rich person, their game is to sell their stuff. And to sell their stuff, they have to find someone to buy it, which is AKA retail demand. Doesn't matter how scarce your asset is, the price won't increase without demand. So the demand comes from where? The general public. So right now we see a very interesting perspective where when it comes to Google search trends and we're looking at narrative economics, the general public is not in crypto. It's not. But Bitcoin's at all-time high and Ethereum and altcoins are bleeding out. So a lot of money, and I just got to be clear, a lot of money is flowing into Bitcoin right now as we speak. A lot of money is flowing to Bitcoin. This is true. The treasury companies, IPOs, stablecoins, a lot of money is flowing into kind of like the more institutional side of crypto with the stock market. But it doesn't mean that something isn't going to happen on chain. Here's some evidence. This is like the biggest evidence that trumps this entire narrative right now. Okay, the biggest evidence. JP Morgan just launched a stablecoin on Base Chain. Now, JP Morgan, they were involved in the 1902 panic, the bank panic, that led to the creation of the Federal Reserve. There's rumors, nobody knows for sure. This is in Times Magazine, this is reporting, it's not fact, we don't know, but there's a lot of rumors saying JP Morgan himself exacerbated the bank run in 1902, and this led to the creation of the Federal Reserve because basically there was like a big problem. They called it the Panic of 1902. All the banks went bankrupt, and then JP Morgan himself bailed all the banks out. And then he was like, hey, like we need to make a bank of all banks. And then they used that as fuel to create the Bank of all banks, which is the Federal Reserve, which is the biggest power in the world right now. So JP Morgan themselves just made a stable coin. And guess what? It's on chain. Now, the interesting part about it, it's on chain, but it's only for institutional investors. This is where it's getting weird. It's getting really weird. So catch this. Bitcoin spot ETF, the vast majority of the custodians of Bitcoin spot ETFs are on Coinbase, right? We know this, right? It's very obvious. Coinbase, first publicly traded company of this size that's crypto-based, crypto exchange on, in America, that IPO'd in America, right? First one, right? So Coinbase has a lot of ties. They've made a lot of money. USDC is the second one. So we have Coinbase and USDC. Coinbase and USDC are the only two IPOs in America, right? Publicly traded companies, and their evaluations, both of them skyrocketed. Now catch this. USDC, when you give them $100, they take your $100, and what they do is they actually put that $100 into buying government debt. They buy government debt, they make a 5% yield, and that's their revenue. So they just went public. They just made approximately, I did the math, $800 million off of the IPO. They sold 10% of their stocks, but their evaluation is through the roof. They started off at $7 billion. They're at $74 billion the last time I checked. So that's a 10x on their evaluation. So they could do something like sell more of their stocks to raise money. And see, the thing is, they've been buying a lot of government debt. Listen to what I'm saying. They've made some friends in the U.S. government, right? And so USDC, Coinbase, really, really involved in the U.S. government. Now JP Morgan coin is launching on Base Chain. Look, this is my claims. Do I think that altcoin season is very inhibited? Yes, I do believe that. It's obvious. It's very bad right now. For sure. Like it's been rough. But can there be a specific base altcoin season? Can there be something that happens on Base's layer 2? I think it is happening. I do think something's happening. Now, I'm making a claim that there could be a specific altcoin season or whatever the case is. Has that happened before? Yes, on Solana earlier this year. Vast majority of the liquidity and the hype went to Solana. Now, if you know the story behind Solana, these are also very bold claims, not too much evidence, but from what I've seen and I've looked into, I do have qualitative and quantitative evidence, but from like legitimate, like nobody can prove this. What I've seen is the FTX exchange, right, went bankrupt. The market went all the way down. At the exact bottom of the market, it went bankrupt, right? And somebody bought all the cryptocurrency that was on the exchange. Now, a big portion of all of the cryptocurrency that was on the exchange was Solana tokens. So somebody bought a lot of Solana tokens, and it just so happens to be the worst blockchain, fundamental-wise, in the world, Solana. It's like the worst blockchain ever. Like, it sucks so bad on a technical level. That had its own mini altcoin season. Just think about that for a second. That had its own mini altcoin season. So it was market made. That's the definition of market making. Somebody market made Solana, right? So can someone market make coins on the base chain? Yes, I think they can. And again, this plays right into what I was saying about the big institutions that are IPOing treasury companies. All of them have to now create products. They're crypto, and not all of them, but a lot of them, like Coinbase and USDC. They're going to make more crypto products to extract money from the general public and to siphon it. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This is a biblical principle. This is a big biblical principle. I'm not making things up right now. So do I think there's going to be an altcoin season? Yes. Do I think this cycle is completely different from anything we've experienced? Yes, 100%. The adoption of crypto is insane right now. We're really into institutions. I mean, this is absurd. This is ridiculous, right? We have an Ethereum spot ETF, a Bitcoin spot ETF. I mean, Bitcoin survived the biggest World War III panic we've ever seen. We have Circle almost passing the evaluation of Coinbase's stock, and it's been out for like less than a month. Circle passed the evaluation of Robinhood. I mean, we've been seeing some really, really strong confirmations on crypto. Now, it might not be within the altcoin cycle, but there is confirmations, and the money will flow to the part that this is like, to make the claim that the money won't flow into the reason why cryptos are innovative. The whole reason why cryptos are innovative is because of Web 3.0. Web 3.0 makes crypto innovative. Let me say it again. Web 3.0 makes cryptocurrencies innovative. The on-chain side of crypto is the reason why cryptos are going to work. It's the technology. It's the next infrastructure of the internet. The money will flow there eventually. Now, how it happens, I don't think anyone knows, but something's happening. Again, the S&P 500 just broke all-time high. These are stocks, right? Trump just signed a deal. I don't know the exact implications of it. I don't think he's releasing the specifics, but he obviously just signed a deal of some sort with China. So we have clarity on tariff policies. It's not crazy with the tariffs anymore. And we have a pro-cryptocurrency president that has a track record of not letting the market fall. My stance is shifting bullish. I'm precautious because the money has to come from somewhere. But bro, where is all this money coming from? We have a potential shadow quantitative easing that is being used by crypto as a term that a lot of people are throwing around. I do understand it. It looks like it's really happening. But basically, money is coming from crypto, and it's kind of pumping liquidity into our market. So it kind of feels like, I was telling my group earlier today, it kind of feels like rich people get into crypto first. We're going to make products, and then we're going to get everybody else into crypto. That's what it kind of feels like, right? And so let's just get you rich first, right? JP Morgan coin, stablecoin only for institutional investors, right? Coinbase, the main custodian for Bitcoin spot ETFs. They got all that liquidity. Coinbase is a direct, like a very, very like obvious partner of USDC. USDC evaluation 10x. A lot of people bought into Circle stock, right? So that's my thoughts. I know it's a little complex, but I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm going to be updating you a lot. It's just there's so much research. I can't just sit there and make the videos. I'll make a lot of videos like this. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.